Hello and welcome to this episode of Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. and today I have a very special guest. She is the 2021 New England Music Awards overall artist as well as the Country Artist of the Year. Her song Red Wine on My Mind also won the Song of the Year. Her recent album Where We Holler peaked at #2 on the i2 Country Album Chart. Please welcome singer-songwriter Annie Brobst. Annie, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. What an introduction.
If you keep winning all these awards, I don't know what I'm going to do at that point. It takes
Well,
up half a page as it is.
well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the love.
So are you still on a high from winning all these awards?
Definitely. Sometimes we kind of forget and we'll pass somebody in the street or one of our friends or see somebody out and they'll say, by the way, congratulations. And so at least around here locally, it's pretty exciting.
That's awesome. How much does it mean to be acknowledged for the success?
Awards are a funny thing. It means a lot to us because I think being recognized in any way, shape, or form for the hard work that we put in feels really good. So I think, that's the extent of it for us. We don't want to rely on that or use it as anything as like a crutch, but it certainly just feels really good and keeps the wind in our sails.
Good. So I went through your social media a little bit and I found one of the quotes that you put on there was dream big, but don't neglect to follow through. Now, I've seen that you've been around for a while, so your success did not necessarily come overnight, correct?
No, definitely not.
Tell me about that journey into the music industry.
Yeah, I think I'm picking up little bits of advice along the way and creating my own. And that particular quote, I think, is just kind of what I've tried to live by, even from the very beginning. If you say you're going to have a show, you go and you play the show. It's that simple. Or if you say you're going to release music, make sure you release music. So I think it's just all about, it seems so simple, but I think so many times we dream really big or we say, ooh, exciting things are coming, or, we try to get our fans pumped up and it doesn't pan out. So I think it's really important to just make sure you follow through for your fans so that they know, you're going to do what you say you're going to do and they can count on you.
Right, right. When did you decide that you wanted to pursue music?
So I'd always been in choirs and things growing up. I loved singing. I always wanted to be a teacher. So when I was in grade school and then went into college, I had teaching certainly in mind, not music teaching, but just teaching in general. And so it's kind of like they were just both my passions. And when I started teaching, I really wasn't doing organized music or anything. And then I kind of picked that up somewhere along the line and started to do both and was really burning the candle at both ends. And then I decided to go full force with music and step away from teaching. So I just kind of went with the natural journey, but I always had that passion as a kid. I always dreamed of being a singer, and we'd make videos like Britney Spears and, and try to be the pop star of the neighborhood.
So Britney Spears was one of your early influences, or did you have anybody else that that really inspired you to do it?
I had a lot. I don't know if you remember BMG Music, or you could like subscribe to this CD service and you could, I was young, so I was like, Dad, I can get 10 CDs for 3 cents.
Well, I don't know if you remember it being on cassette tapes, because that's me.
I don't. I don't. But so I used to do that, and I would get all the ladies. I loved getting the CDs, sitting in front of my stereo, as close as I am to this screen, and opening up the lyrics and just following along and trying to do all the tricks and things that they did and figure out how they made those sounds. I just loved the singing about it. And so that was Britney, Christina, Mariah, Whitney Houston. Then I started to love country. So I loved those crossover pop country. I loved Shania, Martina, and just loved singing along and trying to do what they did.
So you picked all the ones that have these strong voices.
The divas.
Yeah. So also going through your social media and stuff like that, I noticed you perform for a lot of big acts, including like Winona Judd, Joe Nichols. I saw Easton Corbin, which is one of my favorites. Which one of the acts that you opened up for was one of your favorites?
That's a good question. I don't think I've thought about that really. We kind of just take each one in stride and enjoy the moment. I think I got to say though, the coolest experience was being out in Colorado for Country Jam Colorado, which is a huge festival with all those superstars. And we played the side stage, and you can be out there, and because you're in town and you're kind of a smaller artist playing the side stage, if anything happens or somebody on the main stage gets sick, then you get a call. And so we got a call to move up to the big leagues and kick off the day on the main stage. And then that also means just kind of being back and bumping elbows with everybody. I mean, we sat and watched Sam Hunt with Walker Hayes to my left and Kelsey Ballerini to my right, just hanging out, on our phones, social media, and then watching him side stage. I mean, those are just really, really cool experiences. And so I think as a whole experience, I'd have to say that one really stands out.
Okay. And is there anybody that you're looking forward to hopefully one day get to either perform before or with?
Miranda Lambert is my huge, huge idol. And we've done side stage shows with her before, but never a main stage show with her. So I think that would have to be a dream. But I also really love Ashley McBride. So anything tied to her show, I would love to get into at some point.
Oh,
But Carly
wow.
Pierce is a new favorite too. I love her.
All good names. Now, I know you got to meet Miranda Lambert at least one time. I saw that. What's a conversation with her that you have? Like, how does that go?
I, I was really nervous. So I was silent for most of the time, just kind of watching. I was also a guest and a Radio Plus one. So I was there with a local radio DJ who knew that I was a really big fan. And he kind of just brought me in as his plus one to be there for what they do with the artists. So I thought it was my role to just kind of like watch. But then she got to me to take a picture and knew I was nervous and offered me a glass of wine from Wanda the Wanderer, which was her little trailer that we were in, her Airstream that she uses for those meet and greets. It's all decked out inside with like a couch and a half bar and stuff. So it was just, I think I was really nervous, but I definitely made sure I told her that she was my biggest idol, and she told me she liked my sparkly boots and that you could never have too much sparkle.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'm sure the wine helped calm you down a little bit. She knew what to give you.
She knew it.
So now I had the opportunity to see you perform at Freedom Jam 2021. That was just outside of St. Louis this past August. Many people in my audience might be familiar with that event because I heavily promoted it. I thought it was such a great event for a great cause put together for people like Brian Judy. And the event was to raise money for Operation Triage, which was a great organization that helps the armed service veterans. What was it like for you to get to play at Freedom Jam 2021?
That was just really, really cool. It was a whole world of people that I didn't know. Brian found me on TikTok,
Okay.
which is a very cool avenue. But we try to pick and choose throughout the year. We get offered a lot of things for fundraisers and charity and things like that. And, I think we have to be a little bit choosy so that we can structure our year properly. But that was one of 3 events that we did last year. And it was just really cool. And it's going to be meaningful, but you don't realize to what extent until you get there. And you just see people that it's really meaningful to. Even the founders, Brian and George and everybody involved, you could tell that they had such a passion for it for personal reasons. And all the vendors and stands, I mean, it was just really cool to talk to people. And even there was a whiskey there, and it was connected to, to somebody who is served and all of that. So it was just a very cool experience, and it's certainly humbling and you just get there and you know that there's people doing some big, amazing things. So whatever we can do to help give back, we're in.
Yeah, I thought it was very amazing myself. There were moments that I found myself just kind of speechless. And like you said, you talk with some of the veterans that were out there and you hear their stories and you hear what Operation Triage is doing for that. And you just can't help but, feel for that. So, I'm glad that you came out there. When you said there was a bunch of different artists, was there anybody in particular that stuck out that you either had a good time with or you enjoyed watching?
Yeah, so it was actually really cool too. We were back at the hotel where a lot of the artists were staying, so we got to chat with some of them and get to know them a little bit. But I just tried to mingle as much as I could. Standouts were definitely Bree Morgan. She was so much fun, and just I felt like I connected with her as a person.
Yeah, and I think I got some great pictures of the two of you. I might put that
Yeah,
up on here too as well.
yeah.
It definitely looked like you guys were having some fun out there.
Yeah, and Molly was very sweet. I joke because Molly played right after us, and we were up there, and the sun had just come out of the clouds,
Hmm.
and it wasn't quite set over the under the mountains yet, and so it was right there, and it was so dreadfully hot during our set, and I looked like a wet dog afterwards. And then she got on there, and the sun went right down over, like below the mountains, just enough where she was in this beautiful shade, and she looked gorgeous on stage and wasn't even sweating and was just like prancing around. Her hair looked great, and I just thought it was so funny. I'm like, man.
You did the
But she,
hard work for everybody.
yeah, right.
Took one for the team.
There you go.
So one of the songs that you performed there was "Holler and Swaller," and I'm going to show a clip of that moment right here.
Wait still, holler, holler. Well, so holler, holler with us, y'all. Wait still, holler, holler. Well, so holler. One more loudest one. Wait still, holler, holler. Well, so holler. Yeah. And then we take our friends out of the smoke, a little stuff. And a place where we can be, we on the floor. We holler, holler. Well, so holler.
Tell us a little bit about that song. How did that come about?
Holler and Swaller was born with our house tours. So when COVID hit, we did a house tour, which consisted of live stream shows in our house, in every room in our house. And it really just kept people entertained so much that when it got warmer, we moved outside to places around our house, like our porch and the shed and the fire pit and the goat pen. And we were doing live stream shows from in there. Well, people started to show up at those, like bring their lawn chairs and sit on our sidewalk and just watch from afar. And so that brought us to the real house tour, where we were taking a mobile stage around to neighborhoods around New England, about 30 shows last year. And so we kind of wrote a song about the things that we saw, and Holler and Swaller was something that we could do at any distance from people, as long as we had a microphone and a drink in our hand, and they sure had drinks in their hands. And we could just do it, and it was so much fun. And whether you knew us or didn't know us, it just got everybody involved and yelling and having a good time, and people had their coolers and all of that. So
It's definitely a fun song, and I know COVID really forced artists to have to be creative in what they were doing. I know some were, taking to social media and just, performing just for the camera. But it sounds like you took it to a whole other level and, got people involved, which is pretty cool,
yeah.
despite the fact that we still had to be, 6 feet apart from everybody. So that sounds like nothing but a good time out there.
It was great, and it was just it wasn't even planned. It was like one thing led to another, just based on the amazing response we were getting from people. So, without giving too much away, we are going to try to keep that house tour alive for years to come, despite without any pandemic happening, just in creative ways. So
Oh, that'll be awesome. So now that song is on the album Where We Holler. And I happen to see that you put out a vinyl version of that.
So I didn't necessarily put it out yet. I got 2 copies for myself.
Okay.
and I'm raffling one off at a show coming up, and then the other I might just keep for myself for now because it's kind of neat to have your full album on vinyl. They were expensive too, but I think sometimes that investment is worth it, especially because that album for us just was more successful than anything we've ever done.
Well, if you ever get any more, I definitely would buy some more off you and maybe raffle one off here on Hank's Corner as well.
You got it. We'll work it out.
Now tell me, do you write most of your songs or some of them, or how does that work? What's the ratio of what you write?
So I'm a co-writer on 100% of the songs. Sometimes it's myself and Ryan, my fiance and guitar player, or Roger, my other acoustic guitar player, Roger's been in the band since day one. So Roger is kind of the OG who's left in the live performing band. But it's really like that combination. And we just got, our new backup singer who is also a writer. So I'm hoping to write some with her and expand a little bit to people we love and trust or in the network. But yeah, I co-write all of them.
Okay. And how does that writing process go for you? Because it's different to co-write than it is to write by yourself. And so how do you guys find the composition to be able to do that?
Well, so far, I feel a little limited. Like I have to have a co-writer because I don't play any instruments. And so I don't create the melodies per se myself. So that's where I really need a guitarist or pianist or somebody next to me kind of fleshing out what is in my head. And sometimes I hear it and sometimes I just picture concepts and all of that. But it usually starts with an idea like, hey, I want to do this song called Holler and Swaller, about the fun and the partying that we did on the house tour. And I want it to be upbeat and I want it to be like this, that one is actually, it's funny, but like Chicken Fried was kind of an inspiration for it because Chicken Fried as a musician is all over the place. The chorus is different, the verses are different. Then there was a weird beat change at the end. So I just wanted to throw everything in the kitchen sink in that song and say, I don't care if it's obnoxious and I don't care if it's too much and I don't care if we go reggae at some point in the chorus. I want to get it all in there and make it a party.
Well, it definitely worked. That's for sure.
So every song's a little different, but it's usually just like an idea, a tempo, thought, and whether you want it to be happy or sad feeling,
So now offline, we talked about playing your video Change of Heart, which we'll do here in a second. It's off your album, My First Rodeo. Why did you choose that one when I asked you which one would you like to play? Is there something, particular about that one?
I love that video. We don't have any new videos yet for our new tunes. But that was what won Song of the Year previously before Red Wine won Song of the Year just this year. And that was my first co-write with Ryan. I think that's just like forever going to be one of my favorite written songs.
Okay.
It was such a crazy time in my life, a turning point, and we tried to create something beautiful from it.
Sure. Well, let's go ahead and play it. Here is Change of Heart by Annie Brobst.
You ain't the same girl that you used to be. I remember where I was when you said that to me. You ain't who you are when we fell in love. But there's a change of heart in all of us. And I've changed for the better. And I sang in bad weather, and I cursed his name and thanked the Lord above for this change of heart in all of us. You talked your way down Maple Street, and you got drunk and started blaming me. You kept tearing me down just to build
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. along with my very special guest, Annie Brobst, and that was her video Change of Heart. If you are just listening to the audio portion of this podcast, you can find her on YouTube, where I recommend you subscribe to her channel because there's just so many great songs and videos there. Uh, so, Annie, you reside in Massachusetts, correct?
I do.
Okay, and therefore you do a lot of the gigs up in New England. Tell me, what's the country scene like up there?
You know, it's pretty hot up here. Like it's very trendy. It has been for the past few years. I kind of gauged that when I started teaching. All my students who were eighth graders or so hated country, and they thought it was ridiculous that I liked it. And then by the time I left teaching 8 years later, they all loved it and knew every word to every popular country song. So it grew and it kind of expanded. I don't know. A lot of people think it might be because of Kenny Chesney coming back every year and doing his big shows. Now Luke Bryan comes back a lot, Zach Brown. There's just really big concerts. There's some great concert venues, and there's always huge country shows. We have a lot. It's interesting in the local scene. There are a lot of country cover band venues. And no shade to country cover bands. They are super fun. We know some very talented artists who do that. But there's not a lot of places for us songwriters who want to play our own tunes. So we're just trying to explore that a little bit more. And it usually just means finding a venue that isn't just a country venue, it's a venue. And you can do your own music at those and do ticketed things.
Okay. Well, that's great that it is up there. I know years ago when I lived up in the Philadelphia area, country music wasn't a big thing. It was only one radio station at the time that played a little bit of country music, and it eventually did grow to be a big name radio station out there. And it's just great that country music is permeating all the states within the U.S. Aside from music, do you have any hobbies?
Well, I taught Spanish, so I do know how to speak Spanish, and that's just a hidden talent. That's not a hobby necessarily.
You don't whip it out sometimes at dinner and just surprise people?
Usually after a few drinks, I start speaking it a little bit more. I love to play chess. I grew up in the chess club, and I grew up an athlete, so I played soccer and softball in college. So I used to like to do those around here in the leagues, but then I got a little afraid that one day I was going to bust my face open and not be able to perform.
No, we can't have that. So.
Sorry, they're playing. They get a little crazy.
And I was going to ask about sports because I've seen you with some photos at the Red Sox games. Are you a big Red Sox fan?
It's hard because I didn't grow up here, so I don't have that same it's in my blood, passion for these teams. But, the Red Sox are a lot of fun to watch. Fenway Park is an amazing place. So I do support them. I just feel like I don't want anybody to think I'm a diehard Red Sox fan. I didn't grow up with it. I'm actually not a diehard Cincinnati Reds fan or Cleveland Indians fan either. Even though I grew up in Ohio, oh my gosh.
They're getting excited. Are they Red Sox fans or they're anti-Red Sox?
Yeah, I think they're saying you are a Red Sox fan. Oh my gosh. Anyhow, I grew up in Ohio, so I am a huge college football fan. I love
okay.
But I love sports. I love to watch them, but I can't say I'm diehard Boston teams.
Okay. And do you have any plans that are coming up that you can give us a sneak peek? I know you talk about the, possibly doing what you did last year during COVID, but how about any new music coming down the line or places that you're going to be performing?
We are writing. We do full albums at a time, so we do like to write our full album for a while before we release too much more and overlap. But in terms of cool shows, I've been trying to get really creative about next year. So while we have some opening shows that we're going to announce, we have some national anthem appearances. We have a mini tour. I'm trying to decide how much to say about this. We have a mini tour at some really familiar spots in New
Okay.
England for our fans. I can't say much more than that. We are going to return to Stanzi's, where we just were and sold it out a couple weeks ago. That was an amazing, feel-good local show. We have a date already booked with them, and I am going to announce soon that new creative version of the house tour and what that's going to look like for 2022.
Okay. Well, we're definitely going to be looking forward to that. How about any Thanksgiving plans?
Oh, we do have a show right before Thanksgiving, the night before Thanksgiving. That is City Winery Boston, which seems perfect coming off the song of the year, Red Wine on My Mind, and I've got mine tonight. So that's November 24th, the night before Thanksgiving at City Winery. And then I'm just gonna spend it with the family. But Saturday after Thanksgiving is the Ohio State Michigan game, so I will certainly be tuning in.
Sounds good. So I assume there's going to be plenty of red wine, whether it's at the game or on Thanksgiving, and we're
Hopefully.
going. Well, we're going to definitely end the show with the song "Red Wine," but I do want to appreciate you coming on today and being a guest here at Hank's Corner. Everybody, you need to follow Annie Brobst. She's just an awesome artist. And what's your website?
They can go to anniebrobst.com. They can do anniebrobstmusic.com. Takes them all to the same place. If they're interested in tickets for anything, abbtickets.com will drive them right to my tickets page. But it's out there, pretty easy to get to.
Awesome. Well, once again, I appreciate you coming out here, and you're always welcome to be a guest here on Hank's Corner.
Thank you so much. It was good to see your face.
Good to see you again.
I got red wine on my mind. I got nothing but time. No. When I'm drinking, I ain't thinking about who I am and who's done me wrong, or where I'm headed and where I've gone. See, all I got is red wine